And then on another subject, you were talking about wind farms and solar farms, and there was some discussion that you can't farm under a wind farm, and that's not true. Most farmers are for wind farms because they can farm. It's just a very small footprint where the turbine is, and it's a great income boost for them. They're being hit with this tariff war we got going. When the former president started that in 2017, he raised tariffs on Chinese goods, and then China retaliated and stopped buying soybeans from America. And since then, they have shifted most of their buying to Brazil. They built an infrastructure with Brazil, and the American farmers have been left out. And so when the farmers complained in 2018, Trump he raised farm subsidies to cover that loss. And so he created more welfare for farmers. And most farmers don't want that. They want to compete, And so now they're having problems. Corn prices, as they develop South America, corn prices and soybeans are low, and they're having problems with input costs, with inflation went way up, and they're having trouble earning a living. A lot of them have gone. They got second jobs in order to maintain the farm, to keep the farm viable, and they're looking for other sources of income to diversify their holdings, And so wind and solar are the option that they're not going. Farmers are not going to these township meetings. They've given up on these local officials because they're not protecting their land rights. And so they're signing options. These farmers have signed options with solar and wind all across our area, in order to protect their farms.
But you're saying they still can farm a lot of the farm, even if they have the solar,
right?
Or are you just referring to the wind part?
No, solar is a different beast. That has to be. It would probably take new equipment, but they do. You can farm. You can farm under solar too.
Okay.
They have to be. It's more difficult, and there'll be a need for a change in the way the farm is run, but it can be done, and it is being done. They got agrivoltaics, they call it, and so this is what the farmers are hoping they can. This is agricultural land. This is just agricultural districts where farmers have for generations farmed this land, and it's designed. Agricultural districts are designed for farmers. It's not designed for residential people to buy into it and tell farmers what to do with their land. I mean, if you want protections like a residential area, you go buy in a residential area. But if you buy property in a ag district, you have to be mindful that farmers should have the right to farm their land in ways in order to protect and continue their operations. Farmers can put a CAFO next to your house. They can do a lot of things, that most of those residential people would not agree with.
Yeah.
But to come in there and move in and buy 5 acres when the farmer next door has 1,000, and then try and tell a farmer what to do with his property, that's kind of
I see your point.
And it's really going to be interesting to watch what the Michigan Court of Appeals does. As I'm sure you're aware, recently a group who is challenging the orders that came out from the Public Service Commission that would implement the change to how the wind and solar and battery storage siting regulations are handled. They filed and said the PSC went too far, and they wanted the Court of Appeals to essentially kibosh what the Public Service Commission did. Just this week, a different group of people, including some of the farmers who want to have those items on their property, has, in essence, counterfiled before the Court of Appeals to keep things the way the Public Service Commission ordered. So
It's going to be interesting.
interesting to see how the court will eventually rule.
Right. And right now, I heard of a farmer over. There's farmers in Monroe County. They're on the brink of bankruptcy because of because of the low crop. There's one farmer. I'm not going to mention any names, but he can't pay the landowners that he's farm. Some of the farmers
Lease.
their own land, and then they rent other land.
Right.
And he's unable to pay the rent on these other farmlands. And I've been hearing that a lot of these farmers are going to, if things don't change, are just going to go belly up.